All right, can someone tell me why nobody is fucking putting this debate all over YouTube like they would if it was, I don't know, whatever pod? We all know why. It's because Pearl did not come prepared and destroyed her. It was awkward. And at the end, I don't know what the fuck Gavin was doing or saying. Something about, well, Pearl has a kid and you can't trust it. Who the fuck knows what he was getting at? Obviously, he's covering for Pearl. That's his girl. But just call a spade, man. And destroyed her. And that's that. Take a look. Let me know who you think won. Till next time.
Okay, so look, we don't have time to get to all the highlights. And I want to say something. I had no intention initially to like draw attention to this debate. After the debate happened, obviously I promoted it beforehand, but I actually did feel bad for Pearl. And I'm not looking to, have our audience make fun of her. I'm not looking to make fun of her on the show. Like, she lost the debate. It was embarrassing enough. I was going to move on. But immediately after she shook my hand, said good debate, and she appeared to be a good sport about it, she then went on to mock my husband because I talked about how feminism allowed me the economic freedom to marry a man for love and not because I'm looking for someone to financially take care of me. Started calling him a loser and all this nonsense, and like just tons of various posts on X. And I'm like, oh, you want to keep playing? All right, I'm down to play. And so here are some highlights from the debate.
Do you believe in alimony?
I believe in alimony in specific cases where the woman decided to forego having a career and working, decided to stay home and raise the kids. In those cases, I believe she deserves alimony, yes.
But that's a privilege.
You're ridiculous. Anyway, next, move on.
You said it's ridiculous.
It's ridiculous,
that it's a privilege to stay home with your
coming from a girl who grew up in an affluent situation with incredibly wealthy parents. You don't know anything about struggling economically or financially. So to tell a single mother who decided to stay home and raise her children instead of work that she doesn't deserve a penny to raise her kids after a divorce is the most privileged piece of thing to say.
This is the type of nagging that drives men to suicide.
Good. But I'm married and you're not, so next.
Jesus Christ.
So I want to be clear about something. I didn't hear the part where she says nagging that drives men to suicide. So the suicide part I didn't hear, but I said good to her complaining about me nagging. I mean, these people, this woman is just, she lives in La La Land. And the idea that women, like, because she promotes this whole notion of the so-called trad wife. You stay home and you raise the kids. Well, you're putting yourself at a significant economic risk if that marriage doesn't work out. So the argument that I'm making is, yeah, alimony should be paid to mothers who were stay-at-home mothers. And if the divorce happens, I mean, what are they supposed to do? And her argument is, oh, they should just go to work. They should get a job. They should get a job. Okay, so no responsibility, no financial responsibility from the male in the marriage or, now divorce in raising the children. By the way, people think that alimony is the outcome of every divorce or something. It's not even the outcome in 50% of divorces. Only 10% of divorces end with an alimony settlement. You want to know why? Because feminism allowed women to be go-getters, go out there, get a job, start a career, and earn their own money. So alimony doesn't make sense if you're earning your own money and you can take care of yourself. But Cenk, I was curious about your thoughts on that.
Yeah, so look, the reason why it was such a blowout, if you watch the whole thing, is because of a couple of factors. One was the obvious, where you would state facts and statistics, and she'd go back to, well, I ran into this bro, and that bro's really mad, so I must be right. That's not evidence, right? And so there'd be a little long, awkward silences. She didn't know how to respond when you asked her for facts. So it was like evident on its face. And I think that the reason for that is she's got this little niche. Everybody now these days have their little niches and in her case, and in a lot of cases, they're grievance niches, right? So she does grievance content for guys who are mad at women. And if you're a woman doing that, that's even better, right? Oh, you guys are right, women suck and all X, Y, and Z, right? But she's not used to actually going out in the real world and having a conversation from someone outside that niche. And so when she runs into the real world and runs into you, that's running into a buzzsaw she didn't expect, right? Where everyone's not validating her opinions. So, but the second part of it is because you did a lot of research and it was obvious in the debate, and you had looked into what she'd said in the past. She's trying to court these right-wing guys who are mad at women. 2026 just started, and like a lot of us, I've got some big personal goals. Here at TYT, we believe in changing the world for the better. But to do that, I'm gonna need the right team of people to make it happen. Let's be real, sometimes it can be hard to find the right people who are that good at what they do. It's like if you're hiring for your business, how do you find the best people for all the different roles on your team? Well, it turns out it's actually kind of easy because of ZipRecruiter. And right now you can try it for free at ziprecruiter.com/TYT. It's a great offer. Their matching technology works fast, so you find top talent without wasting any time. You can instantly see how many qualified candidates are in your area and reach them directly. That's why ZipRecruiter is the #1 rated hiring site. Let ZipRecruiter help you find the best people for all of your roles. 4 out of 5 employers who post on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. See for yourself. Just go to this exclusive web address right now to try ZipRecruiter. ZipRecruiter.com/TYT. Again, that's ZipRecruiter.com/TYT. ZipRecruiter, the smartest way to hire. But she tells them not to get married. But wait, that's kind of against the right-wing talking points. So she's then caught in a conundrum, but it doesn't feel like she's bright enough to realize that she's in a conundrum. And then you did it again when you talked about, well, don't you want moms to stay at home and take care of the kids? That's the trad wife ideology. But now you're saying if they did that and their husband promised to take care of them, if their husband gets a new girlfriend and dumps them and betrays that core promise, she's saying, so what, wives, go get a job, figure it out, create a new career out of nothing. Look, I'm not saying that that should never happen, but it's at odds with her overall so-called philosophy. So you put her in a box she couldn't get out of because her philosophy makes no sense. And it was exposed there. That's why I think that it's so universal in this case, not just left wing, but every part of the political spectrum was like, yeah, that was a slaughterhouse. And so that's why she's so mad afterwards and taking shots at you, taking shots at your husband as usual these days, and talking about laying hands on you, which then ironically would have to lead you to some pearl clutching.
That's hilarious. Now look, the worst part, in my opinion, of the debate for Pearl, of course, was when she was supposed to interrogate me. Like there were these interrogation segments, and well, let's just say it didn't go as planned for Pearl. Let's take a look.
I get it, I get it.
A little harder to debate someone who's not an OnlyFans girl, right? Never. I don't need to. Not that I'm judging.
Do you think that men should have the right to opt out of fatherhood, since women have the right to opt out of motherhood?
No. Put a condom on. You don't want to have children, put a condom on.
Or require him to wear a condom. That's equal.
Yeah.
That choice is equally irresponsible.
He's the one with the Johnson. He gets to decide what he does with it.
I think I'm more of a feminist than you.
Sure. Go great. Congratulations. This is the longest 30 minutes of my life. It was bad. for
Yeah.
her, obviously.
So in the beginning, when you're interrogating her, you got fact after fact, and she's got no response other than I ran into a dude, right? And then she's supposed to interrogate you, and she's got nothing. She had these things that and the reason Anna mentioned the OnlyFans is because Pearl has debated a bunch of OnlyFans girls, and she like does this performative thing. She finds someone who knows nothing about politics and really hasn't thought about politics ever, right? And then she asks him these questions like, oh yeah, should the man have a right to terminate the...
I'll take a look.
Do you think it's fair that all of the young women who were preyed upon as minors by Jeffrey Epstein are now experiencing yet another administration engaging in a cover-up? Or was it the female's fault for being preyed upon by a disgusting pedophile? I'm just curious.
What kind of question is that?
I think it's a pretty straightforward one, because you're talking about the unfairness of our court system, especially as it pertains to divorces. But we're talking about a guy who got a sweetheart deal after raping minor girls, and then even after that, multiple administrations, Democrat, Republican, doesn't matter, engaged in a cover-up, ensuring that those victims would never get justice.
And this has to do with this.
I mean, you want to talk about the unfairness in the court system and how terrible it is for men. What about how terrible it is for women?
Look, that has nothing to do with anything.
It has a lot to do
I
with
think
what
in
we're talking
fairness,
about.
you gotta admit that's an anecdote too in comparison to the overall statistics.
It's a pretty big anecdote.
Move off it, move off it, move off it. Oh my God, this is drawing attention to Trump engaging in a cover-up of the Epstein files and the pedophilia involved. Move off it, move off it, move off it. Like, it was hilarious. That moment was so hilarious to me. It really stood out. Cenk, what do you think?
Yeah, look, you could find one or two cases, by the way, of the courts or laws being a little bit unfair to men in some of the divorce cases, et cetera. And there are those anecdotes. And by the way, our answer to that one is so simple. And Anna said it during the debate too, which is, okay, then let's fix those. So you don't have to hate women in order to fix those laws that are not perfectly fair. If you found one or two, we're very happy to fix them, right? And so, but the idea that overall, like, men are getting screwed by the US justice system, but women are just flying through, like every time they go into court, they win. Like, single moms can't stop winning in court, right? Abused young girls, to Anna's point, oh my God, the court's just tripping over themselves to help them. No. And we know what the real issue with the courts are. It's not about men or women. It's about the powerful versus the powerless. The powerful can skate through anything and kill people, et cetera, and get away with it. And the powerless are ground up by this system. And then last thing for me, before we get to the hilarious, awesome post-debate analysis, is, look, guys, these are all words that people put meaning into: feminist, socialist, even MAGA, right? So on left and right. What does MAGA mean? What does socialist mean? Almost nobody ever defines it, right? So what do we think? Generally speaking, Anna and I were relatively very similar on this topic. Equality, period, not complicated.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
We don't want men at a disadvantage.
Exactly.
We don't want women at a disadvantage. We don't want anybody at a disadvantage. Equal rights, where's the question?
Exactly. And the ideal situation where two totally fine parents, they just didn't get along, irreconcilable differences, whatever the reason for their divorce, as long as they're good parents, I want the 50-50 custody. Like, the notion that, like, oh, these devilish women, they want the mom to have full custody and they want the man to be frozen out. No, I don't want that. I don't think that's good for the kids. But she lives in this weird la-la land where she thinks women always get everything they want and men get shafted. And she also kind of fails to realize, like, life is a lot more complicated. It's not so black and white. So you might have situations in which the man is an alcoholic and he's very abusive, like physically abusive with the kids. Okay, then in that case, you want 50-50 custody. How does that make any sense? It's not safe for the kids. But anyway, let's move on to some of the post-debate stuff, because things went so poorly for Pearl that she apparently considered physically assaulting me. Let's take a look at that.
There was a point where I did want to throw hands. I'm not gonna lie. She's like 5'1". And I thought about it. I'm like, you can talk like this to men, but I'm bigger than you. I could body you. Do you know what I mean? I'm like, yeah, I don't know. She was a little ghetto, you know. I know I was too polite.
I can be a little ghetto. I will co-sign onto that, but I don't think I was being ghetto on that stage. I mean, she's the one who's on camera right now talking about wanting to throw hands. Like, what?
Yeah. No. I mean, that
Anyway.
irony is hilarious. I wanted to body her. I wanted to throw hands. She's being ghetto. If you say so, Pearl.
I know. And by the way, she also admitted that the event and audience was pretty much stacked against me and to her advantage. Let's just take a quick look at that, and then we'll go to the post-debate analysis.
And the worst part was the crowd was the best crowd. I talked to them before. They're all so nice. They're there to see me win, the majority of the crowd. I talked to them before. It was mostly there for me, or at least like rooting for me.
What do you think tonight is your best hope for swaying people in the crowd who might not be on your side?
I don't have a lot of hope, to be honest with you.
So that last part was me acknowledging that, yeah, the audience was very much on Pearl's side. So I was kind of in a difficult spot because I, number one, don't consider myself a feminist. And then number two, everyone in the audience is on her side. But let's see how the analysts thought I did. Take a look.
I think whatever opinion you have on the topic, that was an absolute bloodbath.
I thought Pearl did great. I think that.
You think she won?
Well, you know what I noticed going on over there? Anna doesn't have kids. Pearl has a kid. And Anna was doing this like masculine thing where she was being really, vociferous and attacking Pearl. And Pearl had this sort of like calm.
Why are
where
we
she's
infantilizing Pearl?
Women who've given birth are better than women who haven't given
Pearl have a
birth.
child?
Anna is aping male characteristics. She's getting super aggressive and attacking like a weird little pit bull that's mimicking male behavior.
Everyone knows that was painful. And the reality is, it sucks for Pearl. You know, it's tough coming out here and trying to be a debater.
Well, she's taking on, let's face it, one of the Michael Jordans of debating.
Yeah.
Damn right.
Oh, I love that comment. I loved it. Young
Me
Turks,
too.
Undefeated. Okay, so look.
Oh, by the way, Pearl doesn't have kids. Like, and it doesn't even matter. Pearl doesn't have kids. I don't have kids. Whether you have kids or not means nothing. Gavin McInnes is a clown.
Oh, that was Gavin McInnes.
Yep.
Oh, I didn't even recognize him. Oh, that's hilarious. So, look, my last four comments are about those guys. Anna, yeah, I mean, she won, but only because she was aping male characteristics. Whatever gets you through the night, brother. Okay, and the crowd part, that's a really interesting point. So this is an old trick, and by the way, honestly, we've packed crowds before too. Not as a trick, but just like we said, hey, we're going to Politicon, and then a whole bunch of people bought tickets. And then once people saw us doing that, Ben Shapiro then did it when we were debating, and he packed the crowd with like 90% of his guys. But even so, when we got to money in politics, and he's like, well, money in politics is great, and then politicians should take money from Israel or whatever, right? He didn't say Israel in that case. Even his own crowd was like, boo, no, not at all, right? But you did that on steroids here. I mean, that crowd was in a lot of ways, they just started applauding you at some points. By the way, Ben Shapiro also did that trick at TPUSA. So he knew that Tucker was gonna come on and he was gonna come on. So they packed a totally pro-Israel crowd. So every time he's like, we should cancel them. And people are like, yes, cancel for Israel, yes. And everybody else is like, who are these bozos?